Hello, so this is my portfolio project for Bio 182, and I'm Erica Dunn. Let's get started. So I did my project on the Canis lupus familiaris, which is commonly known as a dog. The species walks on four legs and is covered in fur for warmth, and dogs are the product of years and years of the domestication of wolves. The species was first domesticated within the 18th century, and nowadays dogs are integrated into society, and some even have jobs such as service dogs or police dogs. And I have a cute picture of a golden over here on the side. So for their ecosystem for the dogs, since dogs are present on almost every continent, they're exposed to all types of ecosystems. These ecosystems include prairies, deserts, forests, and coastal regions, as well as some Arctic zones. Some dogs with thick and or white fur are more suitable for colder climates, whereas dogs with shorter, more colorful fur can survive in warmer climates. However, due to the domestication of the dogs, we can see all types of dogs all over the world. For example, huskies are really big dogs with a thick coat that originated in northern Russia, and there's many people in America as well as all over the world that have this type of dog. Continuing this ecosystem, dogs are ranked third in the world's most damaging invasive mammalian predators, behind cats and mice. The omnivorous diets of dogs makes them a predator to some species, and species with small population sizes are particularly vulnerable to these intense bouts of predation. On top of predation, dogs are responsible for spreading disease, interbreeding with other candids, and competing for resources such as food and or shelter, as well as causing disturbances by chasing or harassment. Some adaptations here is there's actually been a lot of adaptations made from the wild wolf that it used to be. Some of these main adaptations are companionship, as well as some more functional features such as hearing, sight, and smell. And we as humans benefit from these adaptations, as some dogs are trained to have a really good sense of smell, which aids in police work. If you can see our working canine dog over there on the right side. So adaptations continued. Some more is that dogs overall have just gotten smaller. As you can see in my picture here on the left, the back light gray shows the outline of a gray wolf, where the dark gray outline shows that of a Siberian husky. And you can tell that it's much smaller than the Siberian Husky is. And I also wanted to point out that Siberian Huskies are one of the largest breeds of dogs, so other breeds of dogs get even smaller than that. So that just shows how over time they've gotten much, much smaller. But some of those physical attributions that have gotten smaller include smaller teeth, a smaller snout, and as well as a smaller stature. This is also due to domestication, where wolves and wild dogs needed big, sharp teeth to rip apart prey for food. A domesticated dog that has an owner who feeds it does not need those such huge and sharp teeth. So here we have Cystatin A. Excuse me. This was the protein that I used to determine the related species. CSTA belongs to the type 1 Cystatin superfamily. And this protein is responsible for protecting cells from proteolysis of cytoplasmic and cytoskeletal proteins by clathophytins B, H, and L. This protection typically takes place in the lymphatic system or epithelial cells, and epithelial cells can be found all throughout the entire body, and they help with the protection of the body, as well as secretions. CSTA has also been found to be a tumor suppressor in esophageal cancer, yet it plays an unknown role in lung cancer, as researchers are still researching and finding it out. Here is the image of my protein. Here, the protein alignment. And then here is the image of my phylogenetic tree. As you can see, my species is highlighted in yellow there, just the third one down. And then the density-independent and dependent factors are actually kind of interesting for this species since they are so heavily influenced by human populations. One of the biggest density-dependent factors is diseases. It has been noted that dogs are responsible for transmitting over 300 zoonoses, which are just diseases, to humans, and they're perhaps best known for the role they play in the spread and maintenance of the rabies virus. And as of right now, there is no cure for rabies, which therefore means that rabies is a fatal disease for the dog, as the disease will either kill the dog itself, or as humans, we inevitably end up putting the dog down due to its disease. Only wild or stray dogs have to worry about predations, as domestic dogs are taken care of. However, it's approximately 75% of the dogs across the world fit into this free roaming dog category. So it's actually kind of a big issue, and some of the wild dogs' biggest predators are lions and humans. That's particularly aimed towards those stray dogs, as humans tend to mess around with them. But for density-independent factors, they're about the same as humans with like weather, with natural disasters and pollution, such as smog. But these factors tend to be worse for the stray dog populations, as stray dogs sometimes find themselves in too cold or too hot of a climate than they are suited for, depending on the breed. The dog is an R-selective species. This means that in terms of reproduction, dogs live near the line of exponential growth R, which also means that these organisms are nowhere near their carrying capacity and therefore can afford to grow their population. Dogs also tend to have quite large litters where only a few survive. There's a lot more that survive in the domesticated dogs versus the wild or stray dogs. And the ones that do survive require very little parental care. They also have a very short gestational period, which is said to only be 57 to 72 days, which is plus or minus a few days, but really close to around 2 months, which is about 7 months shorter than the human gestational period, which is just over half a year, which is quite some time, so this is a very short gestational period. And then this is my work site. Thanks.